everyone, and welcome to your history lesson today, Homes in the Past. Now, today we're going to be thinking about what we've learnt so far in Homes in the Past. Okay, so before we begin our lesson, I would like you, and you've got this on your worksheet, just move my camera out the way there. What can you remember about Victorian homes? Okay, so think about the last few lessons that we've had. We've talked a lot about Victorian homes. So I'd like you now to write down or draw some pictures, all the things that you can remember about Victorian homes. Pause the video here. Do that now for me. Okay, welcome back. So we're going to move on then now. I've got some questions. I'm trying to think, I might need to put myself there. Okay, so my first question is, did Victorians have electricity? Can you remember? Did they have electric lights or did they have gas lamps? Pause the video, have a quick chat with the person in the room. Welcome back. What did you decide? Did they have electricity or not? Let's see. The answer is no, they didn't. They didn't have any electricity at all. Do you remember we talked about that they would have gas lamps and oil lamps? And remember I talked about that little the piece of cotton that they put into the lamp and they would light that, and it was soaked in the paraffin that was inside the gas lamp or the oil lamp. And they had candles, lots and lots of candles everywhere, because they talked about fires. Do you remember? So no, they did not have electricity. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I'm going to just move over just a little bit here. Now, did the Victorians have radiators or open fires to keep warm? Did they have central heating or did they just have open fires? Pause the video here. Have a chat with the person in the room. Okay, welcome back. Can you remember? They had... Oh, move my thing again. Sorry. They had open fires, didn't they? They didn't have central heating. There was no gas in the houses in that time. So they had open fires. And remember, they had to make those fires every single day because there was no other heat in the house. So on days like this, when it's really, really cold outside, the only warmth that they would get would be from the fire and the candles in the house. No other places, and blankets that they would wrap around themselves. Now, having a look at this here, do you know what these are? Well, these are bellows. Now, the bellows are needed for a fire, and I wonder if you know why. Do you know what they are? Do you know why we need them? Have a chat with the person in the room now. It's okay if you don't know too, but have a chat. Okay, what did you think? So, these bellows, they open up like this, and they are... The nozzle part, I'm pointing to the screen again and realise you can't see me pointing. The nozzle part here goes towards the fire, and this part here opens up. And what they did was they would push air out. Now, believe it or not, a fire needs air to get bigger. So what the Victorians would have to do, they would have to put that nozzle of the bellows underneath the fire and puff it down so it makes a sound, and the air coming out would feed the fire, so it'd make the fire get bigger and more raging in the fireplace. Now, anybody that has open fires still needs bellows today to make the fires work. So remember I told you before that my mum and dad have open fires in their house, and they have bellows that they use to puff the air into the fire to make the fire get bigger. So the Victorians really needed their bellows, and they would have bellows by every single fire to get the fire going in the morning when they started it up. So it's a really important piece of kit, that is, to have the bellows by the fire. Okay, how did the Victorians wash their clothes? Was it with a washing machine or with a dolly? Can you remember? Did they have washing machines? Did they have dollies? Can you remember? It was a dolly. That's right. Now, they didn't have washing machines because there was no electricity. They couldn't plug in a washing machine, so they had to use a dolly. Now, what they would do, they would get a very big metal bucket, quite a big one. They'd fill it with warm water. Do you remember we talked about that lady as well that was scrubbing on the board, and she would scrub the clothes on the board? Well, then once she'd scrubbed them, she'd put them into the big bucket and get the dolly. Now, can you see here? It's got a handle on the top, and at the bottom, it's got lots of legs. Well, what it would do, it would go into the bucket and they would turn it round like this, which would make the clothes move around in the water. And as the clothes were moving around in the water, they were splashing around, and the soap would start to wash their clothes. So they didn't have a washing machine that would do that for them. They had to do it by hand. So they'd have to turn the dolly around and around to get the water nice and soapy and suddy to then wash their clothes. They'd need very good muscles to wash the clothes in Victorian times. Have you got good muscles? Do you think you'd be able to wash your clothes? I'm not sure if I could. Ooh, I don't know. Okay then. Now, I have got some objects here that I've broken into pieces. Can you work out what it is? So have a little look here. There's a part that's glass. And there's a part that's metal. What do you think this is? Pause the video here. Have a chat with the person in the room. Okay, what did you decide? Let's see if you were right. Let's see. Yes, it was the gas lamp. Now remember, the gas lamp was used instead of electric lights in Victorian times. Well done. Okay, I've got another one now. What is this one? Pause the video. Have a chat with the person in the room. What did you decide? It was the Mantle Clock. Now remember, they didn't have digital clocks in Victorian times because there was no electricity. So most rooms would have a clock somewhere, and mantle clocks were the clocks that used to sit just above the fireplace. So on the wooden part of the fireplace, it would sit just on the top there, right in the centre. So everyone would always know the time. Now often as well, the mantle clocks would have chimes in them. So they would chime for each hour so you know what time it is. And they might chime as well for each quarter past, half past and quarter to time as well. But because there was no electricity, these clocks didn't run off batteries or mains electricity. They had to be wound up like a clock because they're a clockwork. So can you see these two holes here? The clock would have a special key, and you'd put that key into those holes and you would wind up the clock. Now, I used to have one of these in my house too, and every week my dad would wind up the clock. Now, it wasn't a job normally for the adults to do though. This would be a job for the children to do. So this would be your job. Be your job to go around and wind all the clocks up in the house. And you'd have to do that regularly and check that you got the right time as well. Because if the clock started to get slower, the time wouldn't move in the right time. So you'd have to check and make sure that you've got exactly the right time. Okay, got another one here. Can you work out what this is? Pause the video here. Have a chat with the person in the room. Did you see? It was the Bellows. Brilliant. Now remember, the Victorians didn't have radiators in their rooms, so all their rooms were heated with the coal fires. Even their bedrooms. Do you remember I said they'd have smaller fireplaces in their bedrooms to heat at night time? So the Bellows blew air onto the fire to make them burn better. And that's what we talked about, wasn't it? Now, what was this? Can you remember? Pause the video. Chat to the person in the room. Did you work it out? That's right, it was the dolly. It wasn't a dolly, it was the dolly for the washing. So remember, they didn't have washing machines in their time, so they had to put very hot water into a large tub and use the dolly to move it around in the water. Now then, from everything that we've found out, what would you most enjoy about living in a Victorian home? But what would you least enjoy? So what would you like the most and what would you like the least? Pause the video here. Have a chat with the person in the room. Okay, so then you have got a worksheet that I would like you to fill out. And on your worksheet, you have some sentences and you have to select the correct word that goes into your sentence. So I'd like you to have a go at that now. And when you've done that, I want you to come back and we're going to have a go at these questions here. So pause the video here, have a go at your worksheet now. All right then, so welcome back. We've got last little bits now. So most Victorian houses were made of wood. We've got a quick quiz now. Were they or not? What do you decide? True or false? Oh, let's see. False. Did you get that right? Good. They were mostly made of brick. The houses that were made of wood were in the Tudor times, weren't they? That's right. Now, true or false? Victorian homes had radiators in. What did you think? Let's see, true or false? It's false. We just talked about that, didn't we? The homes were heated with fireplaces. Well done. Okay, next question. Are you ready? So, Victorians used gas lamps and candles instead of electric lights. True or false? What do you think? Let's see. It's true. They did. Remember, there was no electricity or gas in the houses back then, so they had to use gas lamps and candles. My next question. Victorians loved watching TV in their living rooms. True or false? What do you think? Let's see. It is false. The TV hadn't even been invented then, and they had no electricity, so they couldn't watch it anyway. So, next question. Victorian dollies helped women to do the laundry in Victorian homes. Is that true or false? Oh, let's see. It is true. It was a special tool that helped with the laundry. Now, next one, our last one today. Most Victorian homes had garages and driveways. True or false? What do you think there? Let's see. It is false, because very, very few families had cars in Victorian times. The car had only just been invented, and therefore it was very, very expensive. So not many people had cars in Victorian times. Well done there, year one. You have been amazing at that today. Have you enjoyed learning all about Victorians? Fantastic. Now, after half term, we're going to learn about one very special Victorian lady. I'm not going to say any more, but you're going to find out lots about her very soon. Now, you take care, year one, and I shall see you very soon. Bye now.